Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to another Artcast. Tonight we'll be taking a look at a commission drawing I have of yeah. Let me put that above the chat. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at a OC character from the 17 DuckTales, commissioned by Weird Kev, called Pillianne Tropy. It's. I think I got that right. Tropy. It might have been trophy or should be trophy, but it's tropy. Yeah, just kind of a really nice looking OC character for that DuckTales series. And yeah. Oh, I was gonna do something with Can you see that? Yeah, I guess maybe I'll move. I can close this. I'm just going to use slides to demonstrate some ideas I have. Slideshow. Oh, you can still make out the bottom of the chat. That's fine. We'll work this out. What I was going to say is, recently, there was an interesting little tidbit that I think is very relatable to this. On Twitter, there's this video, and I have it right here. I guess originally from TikTok, and it was espousing the not the virtues, but of just the convenience of using ClipStudio, which I love. I love using ClipStudio for things like this, where you can use poses and stuff like that. And people in the chat were like really excited about it because it was like, oh, okay, you can plan out your storyboards more efficiently with this. And now they said it's not a replacement for actually, drawing the characters. That the original poster made it very clear about that. But I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts about this and go over like potential pitfalls of such a practice. And I bring this up because in this case, I actually did use a pose from ClipStudio with this character, except for the fact that I planned out the pose, and then instead of drawing over it, which I've been known to do, I've done that once or twice, a lot of times. I usually use Blender models, which are a little bit more. I guess we'll just close that for now. I use Blender models, which are a little bit more malleable. Sorta. If you don't rig your character right, and if you don't get the topology, I've gotten a little better at knowing the topology and having to build an actual character. There's a YouTuber called Ditko. He had a wonderful series about facial body topology, basically just building up very simple character models that can very easily be altered and customized. But what I was going to say is that the problem with that ClipStudio clip that we just saw is that I find it very hard for the character that I'm drawing to not take the proportions of the character of the model itself. It's sort of a little hard to, how was I going to say, when you're dealing with a unique body type. For example, in our case, we have basically a duck who is very cartoony, has in no way the proportions of a human character that we're working with. And even then, that one model, it doesn't really match a lot of the variance of body types that humans have. When you're drawing, you can kind of get away with maybe adding a little bit more to like the muscle or the neck, but I was going to say from ClipStudio, it's a wonderful tool for planning things out, but I just needed to say, you better be careful about like just taking something and then putting the pose on it and then working straight from it, because you are then going to be taking the characteristics of that model, as opposed to something like Blender where you can customize your shape a little more. Actually, not even a little more. You can sculpt your shape after you're done posing it, which is just a fantastic way of workflow. I basically also wanted to bring up sort of assets versus models, and that's why I brought this picture up again. If you've seen an earlier Artcast, this is Spawn by Robert Mazzario. Yeah, Mazzarulo, possibly. That's a possible pronunciation of his name. And there was a bit of a kerfuffle about the chains here, because you may not see it, but the chains are actually assets built in Paint ClipStudio. He made a chain brush, and he was able to then do a lot of very detailed work in order to kind of... I mean, he drew the figure and drew the muscles and did all the pencil work for the cape and everything, but it was a big time saver to just have one line and then draw the chains out. Which also led to a debate about how, the virtues and vices of digital art. I believe it was one Eric Powell, who is an artist I respect and still respect in most regards. But I believe he was one of the main detractors who did not like the idea of not drawing each individual chain link, and I wouldn't know how to win the gentleman over. By the way, if you haven't seen the new Goon series, I believe the Goon stopped, and then it started up again recently. I've read a few issues. Pardon me. Ugh. I've read a few issues. They're all really great. There's especially one that's like a saga about witches. I kind of borrowed some issues from a friend of mine about that. And he hasn't missed a beat. In fact, I would say that his new work is better than his old work. But I was just trying to say that what's the next image in the clip? Nope. That's for later. That's for a little bit later. Hello, Underwolf. How's it going? But I'd just like to reiterate that I think assets are a little bit more useful when it comes to utilizing ClipStudio. And by assets, I mean like the texture brushes, the image brushes that allow you to do something like the chains. And I wouldn't advise anyone to avoid the models. Like I said, it's very poignant because I used one for this. I've got a bunch of these Artcasts saved up, but I was like, oh, okay, that was a topic on Twitter. I'll just talk about that while I'm doing this. And hello, Cage Creatures, how's it going? It's green. Oh, pardon me. I was looking at Sprat Attack. It becomes a totally different processes and skill set. Huh? Oh no, he retracted it. Oh, I wanted to see what he said. But yeah, I was going to say, just be wary because your models will take your drawings will take on the characteristics of that model. It's almost like back in the day when they would. Well, not back in the day. Like very recent histories, there were people. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm shy. Oh, well, don't be shy, Sprat. Am I saying that right? Sprat attack, Sprat attack, Sprat track, Spat tack. I'll call you Spat tack. Or please advise me how to pronounce that username. It's fine, man. We're just let it fly as long as it's not, Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, You've got good taste in icons. But anyway, we're just hanging out here. It's no big deal. But what I was going to say is that yeah, your models will. Yeah, I know what I was going to say. It's like how that guy got caught, like replicating when Iron Man had a heart attack or something, and they found the image that was used, or that he had copied on the internet. That was basically a meme of a gentleman having a heart attack, and he looked at an image, and then I mean, he used it as a model. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't call it copying wholesale. But then again, that's why a digital camera and using don't you dare get me started on Sam Max. Oh, you're so excited for my geek episode. Yes, I'm still working on that. And that is coming out soon. What I was going to say, that's why a digital camera is like worth its weight in gold if you can just take a picture of yourself acting it out. Acting out some actions and stuff. Like Don Bluth did that all the time. Which gets me to my point. There were old school artists that they admitted to basically admitted that yeah, they had a collection, a reference collection, where they would take magazines, and you would take magazines, or you would take manuals of things, or like home and garden books, and they would basically take, and they would just steal what they could. They had binders filled with all sorts of stuff. They would make their own catalogs, basically, of what to do. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Rob Liefeld used an Arnie pose. It's easier now, more than ever, to sort of reverse engineer where a poses come from, especially now, with a lot of media now just taking the lead with, people sell images now as photo stock, and so yeah, it is a lot easier to figure out where certain poses come from, which is why it's also valuable to kind of be able to take a pose and then push it a little bit where you want to go. I kind of did that a little bit here. The original image, which I deleted long ago, the original image from ClipStudio, which I made and then I copied and I put it into Pure Image for making reference images, or just like looking at it while I was drawing. It wasn't exactly at this angle, but then the drawing just kind of came out this way. Which is kind of like, yeah, I just wanted to make her look like she was like a little sort of cocky, sort of sultry. She's definitely got this weird plumage, which is basically her chest. Which may or may not be appropriate that it's always out. But yeah, like I was saying, it's way easier now to reverse engineer all that stuff. And they would say, yeah, I would copy from pictures that I have. And at the time, media wasn't readily available as it is now, where, like, yeah, people said there are people that make careers out of selling poses. They do poses, or they are pose models, or they do it for free, or they ask for a nominal fee or a donation, and they just do different poses. And it's really I thought it was just a fluffy ascot. No, when I start coloring her body, you'll start to see it acts as an ascot, but you'll see. But now it's really easy to sort of, again, reverse engineer and figure out who has what pose and where that came from. But I was just saying, and that's why, again, ClipStudio comes in handy. I'm not advising not using it. I'm just saying there's a certain pitfall one can have when they're and like I said, the original artist who made the video said, no, this is just a way of getting the idea down. And then another artist will, or you draw over it. And I'm just sort of like, I've had experience with that before. It's not foolproof. And I say ClipStudio is great because of the assets and not necessarily just the model making. And again, I would go into Blender for model making, which again brings up a whole nother debate, which people who actually work in the industry are a little bit, I don't know, they just have it leaves a bad feeling in their mouth now that freelance artists will use any tool they can. They will use Blender, they will use motion capture programs. They will use, you've got Inkscape for your vector lines, and you've got this program for line art and stuff like that. I believe, who was it? Was it Aaron Long? He's a director on BoJack Horseman. He made the Sub-Lo and Tangy Mustard cartoons, which are criminally underrated. They are an original series of his. They're not on the artistically, they're not on the same quality, but they wouldn't be because they're made on a shoestring budget by him alone. But he had voiced his sort of disdain for the fact that storyboard artists are not timers, which is what happens when a storyboard artist uses a program like Storyboard, where you can add your own music cues. You have more control over the timing of how the beats of which the storyboards move, and it's all in one file, and you hand that off. Well, that's not storyboarding. A timing and a blocking person will go through and take care of that. There is Andrew Dickman. I don't know if he's listening or not, but he recently won an Annie Award. And you know what that guy's doing? He says he's taking a class in timing sheets, because that is an entirely different thing. You said, hey, I was going to say something snarky on Twitter. I was going to say, hey man, you won an Annie. How do you not know about timing? And it's like, no, I knew ahead of the time that the director may not necessarily have the full grasp on timing, because that's a different beast. That's a different beast from storyboarding. That's a different beast from a final mix or blocking. Blocking is big when it comes to 3D animation. There was a clip on Twitter about, and it showed the 3D blocking of the Lorax, the infamous "How Bad Can I Be" song, and how can I put this? They said that someone made the comment. They said they love seeing blocking for these 3D movies because they just look like shit posts. And they do. It looked like it was something made in Gary's Mod, because that's the limitation someone has when they're blocking out the animation. Because what you do then is that you hand that off to all the animators, and they will animate the characters. And not like all the characters in the scene, much like with traditional hand-drawn animation. One single character will usually have one director. Who was it? It was Laura Faust. She was the director, quote unquote, of who's the girl character? Sawyer on Cats Don't Dance. She was her character director, which means there's one whole director of the whole animated picture. And then you have character directors, which basically are like the main actors of the characters. Think of it like those weird puppets in The Lion King that have multiple people working the puppets. Well, there's one director that's over one character, and then there's one director over the whole movie. So if the director has a problem with the character director, then I guess the character director has to go to the individual artists and animators and tell them what to do. If they are not themselves like animating the character, which I know she did a lot of animation on that movie. And by the way, animation is totally different from cleanup and tying down and in-betweens. So yeah, again, sort of giving a voice to what Long was saying with, he sort of laments the fact that it's getting messier. The line professionally, it shouldn't be done, because professionally you should walk in and you should be like, okay, well, this is going to be my job for the day, and you do your best at that job. You absolutely make sure that aspect is a polished shine on what you're doing, and then you hand it off to the next guy, and they do the same quality. But when it comes to freelance work, and I'm sure he has experience with this too on his show. Like I said, he's directed for BoJack Horseman. He's directed for a bunch of real stuff, and then you see his original series, which is his own thing. It looks like a Newgrounds Flash cartoon, and it is for the most part. But he's done a lot of the work himself on it, and I think he sort of realizes that what I'm doing here is playtime. What you're supposed to do is do this and then hand it off to someone else. The only person that I can think of that really has a knack on it all is Worthy Kids, who has found a way to use Blender and mix it with his style, which is sort of that rough line work. Which, yeah, I kind of dig that. He's found a way. I can't figure out a way. I like nice, clean lines. But his style really works well for what he does. Hello, May. How's it going? What was I going to talk about? Oh, I've got an itinerary of different topics, and I guess I wanted to talk about this one thing that was showing up, and we've definitely got the time. Where is my slideshow? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about. Well, what is it? Oh yeah, Greenblatt's new show, Jellystone. I wanted to talk about this because, again, sort of relating back to the DuckTales, or the 17 DuckTales. There's basically there's a new hoopla about Jellystone. The cartoon series Jellystone looks like Hanna-Barbera's version of Thundercats Roar, and this is brought to us by Polygon. Griffin and Justin McElroy, you need to do something about your boys. Basically, this is a new series by Greenblatt, C.H. Greenblatt. I forget the C.H. I always call him Greenblatt, who is the creator of Chowder, and I guess you could kind of make it out if you look underneath the chat, Harvey Beaks, which I think is far superior to the. Why isn't it? Okay, there we go. Ooh. Which I actually think is far superior to Chowder. But yeah, he's making a new Hanna-Barbera show for I guess HBO Max or whatever one of those things is, whatever. And of course people are upset, and they're saying, "Oh, it looks weird." Again, they say the Cartoon Network series looks like Thundercats Roar. Well, first of all, I want you to just take a look at this stuff. Let me bring that slideshow above the chat real quick. Can I do that? Can I move this like here? There we go. Nope. Nope, that's in there. Why aren't you? There we go. Yeah, we're good. It's one thing when you're going from sort of a 80s muscular thing to, again, it's more of an anime-ish sort of. I mean, you can see a clear evolution in tastes, and there's definitely a difference between each three of those. But it's definitely one thing to go from that to like that quirky little art style right there. But I don't know. It's you can't do that about the Hanna-Barbera animal cartoons. They were always sort of. Ooh, what's going on? Uh-oh, I just hit something. Hello, Michael. Now we'll restart the source when it comes active. Will this work? Nope, I goofed. There we go. We're right here, I think. Yeah, we were at coloring. There we go. Again, what was I going to say? It's different when it's someone like said, who was it? It was Izzy on Twitter. She was like, I can't believe people are like upset about this. And it's different when you go from like realistic muscular like humanoid shapes to the cartoon stuff. But Hanna-Barbera cartoons were always like wacky and goofy and stuff. That's for later. It's just, and I bring it up because I'm not in love with the art style for the DuckTales 16. I'm actually not. I don't know why I have such, like, I look at it and I think, I just don't think that looks like DuckTales. And then they also include all of the designs from the original, Disney afternoon stuff like Goofy and then Gadget, and it's too angular. Maybe it's just the bills. I don't know. But again, you didn't hear me like saying, "Oh, that's totally. How could they do that?" And it's like, no, I totally understand. That's the modern style. It's the modern evolution. Do I prefer like the curves and the lines of like the designs that have you want to say the 80s, but they've actually been around since maybe like the 70s, like that, the whole iteration. And again, like, this is fine. This looks like something that Greenblatt would make. And it's in keeping with the modern style. Which, hey, guess what? Hanna-Barbera has always kind of done that. I was just gonna say, I'm looking. You know which characters it doesn't bother me when it comes to DuckTales? I think it doesn't bother me on Mrs. Beakley and that one rich kid. He was like a Boy Scout in like the original. But now he's like a rich psychopath, and he's actually like one of the better characters. Oh God. Well, you'll remind me of who Gladstone? No, that's one of the cousins. And the owl character, like Glomgold's secretary. Even Glomgold's pretty cool in that design. I think it's characters that have an innate roundness to them. Very Doofus. Okay, Doofus, I guess, was his name. Characters who have sort of, again, yeah, the big, the roundness, the puffy cheeks, the short squatness. It's something about the lankiness in like the kids and in Donald and the square fingers that I don't quite like. The squareness sort of, it works better on those bigger, rounder characters. And the owl just has like a cute face. It's just like all poofy, and she's got the hair with the curls. So yeah, I was going to say that works for that. And I think this will work for Jellystone. I was going to bring up like the worst iteration, or the one time when they did try to make it like, hey kids, this is Yogi Bear, but he's updated. And this is, of course, Yo Yogi, which as soon as everyone saw this, they were like, they popped off. And it's interesting. Like back then, it was like, no, don't change the style too much. Just make it more modern. In this case, you can see, whoops, what did Joe Barbera call Yogi? He called him a whoremonger. That's what it is. And it took me a while to think, like, what's a whoremonger? And then it's like, well, okay, well, what's a fishmonger? Okay, that's what he means, a pimp. Which I don't, I don't get that from this. I think it's the pink hat he didn't quite care for. But yeah, I like the design on Cindy. She's great. But yeah, they gave Boo Boo. Boo Boo's got the bow, but he's also got shorts and a shirt and the hat and a skateboard, of course. Huckleberry's got himself a sort of a puffy sort of sweater with the collar popped. I popped my collar. I wear your granddad's clothes. I was trying to think about McElroy lyrics. Or I was trying to figure out the lyrics, but I can only think of the my brother and me bit. Where he says, smells like piss. Stop. Please stop saying that. Snagglepuss is fashionable as always. He's got the glasses with the pop-down shades, which is something you would only wear if you needed prescription glasses, but also wanted to pop the shades down. So really, he's not wearing them right. He's a poser, and then he's got himself a jersey on for Jellystone, I guess. This sort of like, oh here, let's just while I'm thinking about it, this sort of itself encapsulates sort of the modernization capitalistic views, because they've destroyed the forest and they've made a mall. That was the plot of the series. They made a mall. Cindy's banging, as always. I think she was voiced by Kat Sose in this one. And then I just wanted to add this here. I think Roxy, which was another character, another sort of girl character, in order to sort of to balance out Cindy's sort of Valley Girl vibes. We got a punk here, which I could leave the hair and I could leave the lipstick, but you know what? A bear trap on a chain is freaking awesome. And I had a few more things I wanted to talk about, but I think I'll save those topics for a next video. And I will close this, and then I will pop open this here. So again, this is the final design of I keep on to say Philomena, but it's Pillianne Tropy. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and again, I just wanted to bring up that. Oh, you know what? Hey, Werewolf. You're right. It is sort of an ascot, isn't it? Because I remember it was clearly depicted on the model sheet that he gave me, that was a different color than her plumage, which is sort of like a eggshell kind of cream color, and that's definitely a white. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for this one.